This video is a vlog about our day at Pearl Harbor. While planning for this day, we had questions that we just couldn't find the answers to. For example, which exhibits are free and which ones have an entrance fee. Now that we've visited, I feel more prepared to give advice to any of those who wish to visit. Make sure to subscribe and check out our channel because our next video will be about how to plan your day at Pearl Harbor.
Here we are today. We are going to Pearl Harbor. So we have first thing, we're trying to make sure we get there in time. First thing this morning we have the USS Arizona Memorial. So we have to catch our boat ride out to it. Abby's got her narrated guide.
Yes, audio guide.
Audio guide.
That makes everything so much better because you know what you're looking at.
That's true, yeah. So we're hurrying over to catch our boat ride to the USS Arizona.
To check in. The first thing that we wanted to do that day was checking out the USS Arizona Memorial. You do have to make a reservation for this, and if you kind of know in advance when you want to go and see this exhibit, it's very important that you book ahead of time because this is one of those where everybody wants to experience it, but there's only so many spots on the boat to get you over to the memorial. To be clear, I am not a historian, but here are some of the details that we've learned. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese military launched a surprise attack on the United States Naval Base at Pearl Harbor. Since early 1941, the U.S. had been supplying Great Britain in its fight against the Nazis. It had also been pressuring Japan to halt its military expansion in Asia and the Pacific. With the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. could no longer avoid an active fight. On December 11th, Germany and Italy, allied with Japan, declared war on the U.S. The United States had entered World War II. According to uscensus.gov, the attack killed 2,403 U.S. personnel, including 68 civilians, and destroyed or damaged 19 U.S. Navy ships, including 8 battleships. The USS Arizona was one of those battleships. The death toll on the Arizona was 1,177. The day before the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Arizona took on a full load of fuel, nearly 1.5 million gallons, in preparation for its scheduled trip to the mainland later that month. The next day was the attack, and much of that fuel fed the explosion and fires that ultimately aided in the destruction of the ship. The Arizona continues to spill up to 9 quarts of oil into the harbor every day. The National Park Service and other government agencies continue to monitor the deterioration of the wreck site, but they're reluctant to do anything about it because of the sensitivity to the fact that it is a grave site. In fact, the oil that coats the surface of the water surrounding the ship has an added emotional perspective for many who visit the memorial, and it is often referred to as the Tears of the Arizona.
Where to next, Abby? One of the other museums?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wherever we want. We got our scheduled event done for the day.
Yeah.
We did it in the morning so we wouldn't have to feel time constricted or at a rush.
Right.
Got some breakfast from the snack shop.
Nothing.
And a coffee. Weeby is so sad because I'm not letting him feed the birds.
She said the sign said no.
There's a sign and it says do not feed the birds, so we have to be respectful. Even though they're begging, aren't they?
They are begging.
So it's really confusing the way everything is set up. We've decided we're going to go do the Aviation Museum, which is over on the island, and we have to take a bus to get there. We bought a passport that has all the exhibits beforehand. So we already have the tickets and stuff that we need. We're just trying to figure out
Where do we go?
What do we want to do? Where do we go? So
Everything's outside and it's all different little buildings, so you kind of have to just map your own way.
yeah, so we're going to go to the Aviation Museum.
Yep.
We had the idea of going to the Aviation Museum first, but the way the shuttle cycle runs is it takes you to the USS Missouri first, and then once you're done there, you hop back on, and then it takes you to the Aviation Museum. First stop over on the island is the USS Missouri. Also, side note, with the USS Missouri is the USS Oklahoma Memorial, which we were so bummed that we didn't realize that that is where it was located. Being from Oklahoma, we wanted to see that memorial, but we missed it and we didn't even know it. Excuse me, sir. Is that consensual? So we purchased the passport, which includes general admission. This caught my attention because it says Auckland. There's New York up there, but I noticed Auckland. The USS Missouri has proudly served through World War II, the Korean War, and the Gulf War for a 51-year-long career. What makes this battleship special to Pearl Harbor is that she is the ship that hosted the surrender ceremony of Japan on September 2nd, 1945. You can stand at the exact spot where the surrender was signed. I felt a strong sense of emotion while reflecting on the history that surrounded me. It was pretty incredible. Whenever the U.S. first initiated trade with Japan, that's what our U.S. flag looked like. So whenever they signed the surrender, they purposefully had that flag to show, to remember the good relationship that we had with them. I thought I was following Weeby, but I was looking around because there's so much to see, and I almost just grabbed this person's shoulders in front of me thinking it was Weeby, and then in the last second I realized it wasn't Weeby, and then Weeby's just back here like gonna let me grab some random guy. On April 11th, 1945, a kamikaze aircraft crashed into the Missouri on our starboard side, a little below the level of the main deck. In the crash, part of the plane was thrown onto the main deck, with the rest of the wreckage falling into the water. The pilot's body was in the wreckage found on the main deck. No U.S. military men were harmed in the crash. Captain William M. Callaghan gave the orders to provide a military burial. The next morning, they paused briefly to pay respect. They stood at attention and offered a hand salute. A military honor guard fired a 3-rifle volley and taps was played. The ship's chaplain said commend his body to the deep, and he was released into the water. Although he was a part of the enemy, he was still a human being, and I'm proud of how our military honored him.
Face the ladder, both hands on the railings. No, this is not in slow motion. Nah. I'm joking. Ah.
He's doing it a lot faster than I was.
We're going through the mess hall.
I don't want to accidentally touch something I shouldn't. It was so fascinating getting to go through the ship itself. It really feels like a time capsule. It just looks so old. Like the style of everything feels very like 50s, 60s-ish. It was pretty awesome, and we spent so much time exploring. How many knots do you know?
This one here, the masthead knot.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, I know none of you.
Okay, Weeby, here's something really interesting about Weeby. He's very confident, and I would not be surprised if in his mind he's thinking he could master it all.
I could, yes, I very much could.
I actually believe that he could. Give him some time and an instruction manual and he'll get it. This is pretty cool. They had a dental facility. I don't think I know much about like battleships and stuff.
Permission to enter the bridge. So the captain is in there for protection, I guess. Just look at how thick these like portholes are.
Not much room to see.
No.
Okay, moving on. Maybe some lunch and then the Aviation Museum.
Sounds good. A drunken sailor. Wait, how's the song go?
What do you do with the drunken sailor?
What do you do with the drunken sailor?
What is early in the morning or something? We only know that song because of The Office and Dwight singing it on the booze cruise.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning?
What would we do with a drunken sailor? What would we do with a drunken sailor? What would we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way, hey, and up she rises.
So if you pre-plan and get the passport to Pearl Harbor, you don't have to pay at every exhibit. We decided that we're going to go ahead and do the tower tour just so that we wouldn't have to feel rushed going through the Aviation Museum, because you have to book a time for the tower.
So with the passport to the Pearl Harbor, the tower tour is extra, and it's $19.99 a piece. But if you don't have these tickets and you're just buying individual, it's like $35 a piece. So it does save you a little bit of money if you're going to do everything here. You want to get the passport. Abby, are you scared of heights? No? Not really? It's pretty high up here.
I say that, but then our Blarney Castle video, I couldn't kiss the stone. But that's like upside down and backwards. This is different.
Oh, you don't want to hang off this upside down and backwards?
No. The USS Arizona represents the start or the U.S. entering World War II, and the USS Missouri represents the end. So they were saying that from this vantage point, you can really appreciate the bookends of the war, the start with the USS Arizona and the end with the USS Missouri. So I really enjoyed that tour.
That was well worth it.
Yes, like hearing the stories of how the attack happened and all the little side stories that you don't ever hear about, and then actually being able to see from a distance, like everything, it gives you a visual and appreciation for, like, honestly, the spot you're standing in.
And it's small. Like, I mean, there was only like 6 people up there or something, so it felt like a personal tour or something. Yeah. It's very nice.
Yeah, I liked it. The Aviation Museum is really cool, and you get to see an actual Japanese Zero plane, which I found slightly eerie but fascinating at the same time. Zeros were the planes that were used in kamikaze attack. Weeby's starving. He's getting hangry. We both got the rice bowl with a side of macaroni salad. I got chicken and Weeby got the pork. I love this Tomcat shirt, but they don't have very many sizes. I think this one's been really popular. I think we're gonna get a couple t-shirts. This one's cool. It's like blueprints of the tower. And then Weeby likes a good long sleeve t-shirt. So I think that's what we're gonna get. Let's go check out the fun in Hangar 79.
Were you trying to rhyme?
Yeah. I could
Check out the fun.
Check out the
Hangar 79.
fun in 79. We were just saying how nice the weather was, and that if it was hot, it would not be as enjoyable.
We are definitely fair weather fans. Have a few hours left before it closes. And we need to go to the Submarine Museum.
And then I think there's just a basic Pearl Harbor Museum to go to as well.
You mean the free one?
Yeah. So we've got a few things left to do. Okay, now where do we start?
Where do we start?
Do you want to go to the submarine first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, What interesting facts have you read?
This is the USS Bowfin, and it was commissioned in 1942, December 7th, 1 year after the attack on Pearl Harbor. And it says that, according to the log, they sunk 44 enemy vessels. That sounds like a lot. We're boarding the Bowfin. Are you looking for the seamen? I don't.
He's looking for some seamen.
I don't think they're on this boat. We're going into the bowels. Watch your head.
I can't. I couldn't.
You don't want to live in here?
No, I just couldn't do it.
You want top or bottom bunk?
Or bottom.
Or middle bunk?
I'll take top. No, that's. I don't know. The roof kind of like carves. I think middle. I'll take
Abby
middle.
wants middle.
You missed.
Okay.
Okay, now it's a game. He's got to get one. Oh, you missed again. Third time's the charm. Ah, overshooting it.
Too early.
After what, the 10th try?
That's it? That's all it does?
That's it?
That's it?
There's no like alarm bells that
Where's the,
announce how
like-
awesome I am.
Where's the like...
This is about the USS Batfish. Interesting fact, it is in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and you can walk through it like I did as a child. Weeby was like, oh, the USS Batfish, that's not a real sub, right? It's outside Muskogee. And I was like, no, it was a real sub.
To be fair, I thought it was a World War II sub, but this is 1978, so it wasn't World War II.
No.
But still.
You can see it in Muskogee, which is where I was born and raised. We are running out of time. We only have like an hour left to explore everything else.
the free museum, entrance to the free museum here.
We really did make the most of our day. We were here from like 8 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. and I do feel like we were able to see it all.
I think so. I mean, it was a little rushed. Like you can't go through and just read everything. Like you have to keep moving.
Pick and choose what you want.
Yeah.
If you watched the full video, thank you so much. I hope you'll subscribe and leave us a comment down below. And stay tuned for our next video as I explain what I feel like would be your best way to visit Pearl Harbor.